Hey guys. I was out here doing my fruit stove testing, and I was talking about using a different pot, and it kind of brought up a subject that I've been thinking about for a while. I just haven't really done a video on it, but you know, as ultra lightweight backpackers, I'm not going to talk about SUL or XUL right now, but as ultralight backpackers, we often get so caught up in like gear and technology that that we forget sometimes that it's, you know, backpacking is not about gear. It's about, you know, the wilderness experience and enjoying your time in the outdoors and building skills that are, you know, life skills that you know, people needed, you know, in the not too distant past, and that most people have kind of forgotten nowadays, I think. But while I was looking for this pot, I found this this mess kit that you know, we get so wrapped around gear, and we thinking about all this, you know, lightweight gear and how to make it lighter, and that's cool. I mean, I'm not saying that's wrong. I do it, and I love gear, but sometimes we forget that backpacking can be done on the cheap. And if you're on a budget, you know, the most important thing is that if you want to go, you go, you know, in any way, shape, or form. But you know, some of the ideas that you could go on the cheap are, you know, I bought this actually I bought this cook kit at Walmart. I want to say it was like $5. It was definitely under 10. The only piece out of it that I would really use is this little pot right here. You know, it's a fairly decent pot. It's made out of aluminum, which, you know, some people say that if you ingesting aluminum, that you know, it could cause all kinds of problems like dementia, and I don't even know, but I'm not a doctor, but they're saying it causes a lot of issues. And you know, whether you agree with that or not, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, there's some truth to that, but I'm saying whether you believe that you get that from you know, boiling water or even possibly cooking in an aluminum plate, especially for one weekend. I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, but all I'm saying is one option is you could use this little aluminum you know, pot. This thing's with the lid is like right at 2.9 ounces, which is a little heavy. Well, actually that's pretty light for what it is. And aluminum's light. Now, one of the downsides is it's very thin, and you know, that my top's already bent, and I just the plus of it is I pretty much bent it back straight. So with my hands, with no tools. So to me, that's a plus. 2.9 ounces for this pot. It'll hold more than 2 cups of water, and you know, I think I bought it for, like I said, around $5. Definitely under 10 for this, compared to like my Snow Peak 600, which was like $40, and some of the other pots are all about the same price. So this is definitely on the cheap. Again, I've talked about the disadvantages, but definitely the advantages is really lightweight. You could probably make it a little more lightweight if you use the coat hanger, or you may even go to Home Depot and get a thinner, lighter bale for it. You know, I mean, you could use, you know, some string or something, but again, this is, you know, anything that's around flame, you want to be really careful with that. So I would suggest using a thinner wire if you can find it. But again, around $5 for this. You can cook right here. You know, I think this was an actual fancy feast can for my cats, and I want to say I paid like 70 cents for this, and it fed my cats. So you know, easy, and a hole punch. If you don't have a hole punch, it probably costs you you know, $3 maybe for a hole punch, $4 for a hole punch, and 80 cents at probably most for the can. You can get the cheaper cans. I think you can still get them for 40-50 cents for the cheaper top cans of cat food, and it doesn't have to be a fancy feast, just roughly a 3-ounce can of cat food, and you've got yourself a stove. And you know, heat denatured alcohol at Walmart is cheap. You don't need a pot stand. You could make a windscreen out of aluminum foil, and you've got a really cheap, lightweight cook setup right here. can't go any easier than that. Just a couple of other ideas is, people say, oh yeah, but this is just a cook kit. You can get away with not taking a cook kit. That's true. I agree with that. I'm just saying this is an idea. And things you can come up. There's all kinds of ideas online. One of them is you could use 2mm plastic from Home Depot for a tarp. All you have to do is learn how to tie some of the knots on the corners so that they don't pull out the corner of the plastic, and you've got yourself a really cheap tarp that's fairly lightweight. It's not gonna it's not gonna get you down in the the XUL or the SUL category, but it compared to most pieces of equipment people are carrying today, the heavy haulers and a lot of the ultra lightweight backpackers, it would definitely be comparable in weight. So those are just a couple of ideas. I could go on all day, but this is just one of those things that I've been thinking about doing a video for a while, and just kind of wanted to put that out there to you guys, that backpacking doesn't have to be like super gear intensive, and it doesn't have to be like super expensive. You don't have to be rich. As a matter of fact, most people backpack because it's one of the cheaper sports that you can get into. And I just wanted to put this out there as an idea for some people. If you were thinking about doing it and what was holding you back was equipment. As far as skills, you have to have a minimum amount of skills of how to use this equipment. So what I would suggest is you learn slowly and safely. And when I say that, what I mean by that is that you do training hikes before you ever go out in the backwoods, and you can do those around your neighborhood. You'd be amazed that that as you start putting things like this together, your equipment, that you do things like try to figure out how you're going to pack these things. Will they fit together? Those are skills that you have, and then as you walk with them, you will find out, like, do I want to put this at the top, or do I want to put this at the bottom? Do I want this inside my pack, or is this something I might want to carry in my pocket? Those type things will come out. And then as you're doing just the walks, you can during the day you can start setting up camp. Find a park or a area near your house, or even in your backyard. Set up camp and see, do you try to go through the motions so that you'll identify issues that you may need to look up online, or ask a friend, like, hey, you know a better way to do this, or maybe even how do I do this in general, and you'll find out things like what it's like to put a tarp up in the wind. Don't just go out under the most ideal conditions. Start out in the ideal conditions, but I'm saying go out one day while it's really windy and try to set a tarp up out in the wind, or your tent, or whatever you have in the wind, because I'm telling you, that's a skill that you need to have out in the backwoods. And that's why I say those training hikes, as you start going through the motions, like, hey, what do I need to do? What kind of skills do I need to have? Well, I need to be able to set up camp. I need to be able to filter water, and as you go to do that, you'll realize, like, as you actually physically go to do that, you'll realize, like, hey, this isn't really working. What do I need to work on to be able to do this? And filtering water, in my opinion, is fairly easy. I'm just saying that's an example of things that you'll need to do. Now, there are some other things like first aid. Everybody has a very basic need for first aid. Now, do you need to know how to do everything in the first aid world? No, but you need to be able to stop bleeding and things like that. You don't have to have an extensive knowledge. You just have to have a basic knowledge. For example, like some of the most basic things that people do while they're out backpacking is the most common injuries are burns and abrasions, to cut yourself or skin yourself. And if you don't know how to take care of those basically, those are some of the skills that you may need to look at getting before you go out in the backcountry. Do you need to go out in the backcountry with this huge thing of first aid and know how to do everything in the world? No, you don't. But the most important piece of equipment, or the most important equipment that you'll take with you, is your brain. So you need to be able to think through situations and not get excited. I was watching a video of a guy that said that he once he started doing training hikes, he realized that he was panicking outdoors, and for that I would say that shows you how far we've come from doing those types of things. And my opinion on that is it's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just that's where we're at right now as a society, and the way you quell that is experience. You know, the mind is afraid of things that it doesn't understand or doesn't know about, the unknown. And you know, if you get out and do those training hikes, then you'll have a much better idea of what to expect, and your mind has a better ability to deal with those things. And you know, in the military we call that fear inoculation. You know, that if you go out and you kind of put yourself in that situation in a controlled environment, you know, where it's not risky, then it helps you be able to deal with those situations when they are risky, because you've already thought them out. You already have a plan for, this is what I'm going to do in these types of situations. And you know, some of the skills you'll need to learn if you're putting up a tarp are, you know, how to put it up, or even cooking. The same skills apply. Is that, you know, maybe I need to do this in a more sheltered environment. Like right now I'm out in my backyard. I'm not in an ideal situation. That may be one reason why my fruit stove's not boiling. If I got into an area where there wasn't quite as much wind, it may very well boil the water. And so that's one of the things you need to realize is that if you practice these in a safe environment, a controlled environment, just around your neighborhood, or in one of your local parks, you know, walking through the woods, you know, you're not that far from help if you absolutely need it. Your cell phone works, so you could get it if you needed it, and you can practice those skills in relative safety and be able to take care of those things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I highly recommend, if anybody's trying to get into this sport and you're looking on YouTube, that you start taking training hikes. You know, you can start doing those with nothing. You know, it may prove to you whether you need to wear, you know, boots or you know, trail runners, because you know, you may realize, hey, my ankles, I need some support, you know, or you may realize, hey man, I've never had any problems with my ankles, why do I need to wear a stiff pair of boots? And you know, that may be one of your purchasing decisions that you make later on down the line. And there's more to it than what I'm saying right here. All I'm saying is, if you take those training hikes, so don't take my word, I guess, of what I'm saying and say, oh, you know, I'm going to go down and buy boots, or I'm going to go down and buy trail runners. What I'm saying is go out and get your own experience, so that you can you know, understand what people are on YouTube are talking about, and have a better understanding of how to do this. And I'm telling you, if you watch any of the videos from the guys that are serious backpackers, you'll find out that almost every single one of them backpack in their backyard. You know, we all take those training hikes, whatever you call it, whatever they call it, or whatever they want to call it, or maybe they don't call it anything at all. But they all test their gear, especially new gear, in environments that are safe. And then we go out and we take them into the backcountry, because we have a much better understanding of how to use them and how to apply them in those different situations. So again, take those training hikes. Do them. Don't do them all in the most austere conditions, you know, because when you're out in the backcountry, you know, it may rain. So if you never walk in the rain and you're out in the backcountry, and now you have to deal with that, and you have to figure out, like, okay, am I going to put a rain gear, you know, am I not going to put rain gear on, or whatever it is? Because I'm going to tell you, one of the things I've learned is I don't wear rain gear unless the temperature is low. You know, summertime and in most three-season situations where the temperature is 70 degrees or above, I usually don't wear rain gear. Why? Because I know that as soon as it stops raining, I'm going to dry out, and if I put my rain gear on, all I'm doing is causing a sauna effect, even in the environments where I'm wet. You know, I'm just going to hold that wet in, and it really is not doing me any good. The rain gear's not doing me any good. And even if I'm not wet and I put the rain gear on quick enough, I'm hiking, therefore I'm heating up and I'm sweating. So now I'm creating this sauna effect inside my rain gear. When it's colder, it's not necessarily so much, and you want to guard yourself from hypothermia. So that's just one of many examples. And like I said, there's more to it than that. But that's where you learn those things, is because if you're out and you're hiking in no rain gear, and it starts raining and it's 50 degrees outside, and you start freezing and you get to that point, if you're around your neighborhood or close to civilization, you can always get in the car or you can come home, and that's always safe. Whereas in the backcountry, that's not the time to figure those types of things out. And that's why I suggest anybody that comes to me that talks about hiking, I always talk about training hikes. Start taking those training hikes, get out. I know most people don't do it because they're afraid they're going to look stupid, or people in the neighborhood are going to worry about some guy walking down the street with a backpack. And I'm going to tell you, there are some stigmatisms out there where people think that if you're wearing a backpack, you're homeless. And I don't care what you're wearing, or what you're how you can be wearing $300, $400 worth of clothes, excluding shoes, and out there hiking with a backpack, and there's going to be people that may think you're homeless. But I'm not sure I quite understand why that is, but it does happen. But you've got to overcome those stigmatisms in your own mind and realize that those training hikes are important, and you need to do them. Even if, like I said, even if you don't want to do them in your immediate neighborhood, if you would go to a local city park, and do them there. I think there's obviously a lot of people that have a lot of backwoods experience. Well, you already have most of the skills you need anyway, so you could probably go right out and start backpacking immediately. But again, that's up to you. And I say for 95% of everybody else that's getting into the sport, it's a good idea to take those training hikes and gather that experience in a safe environment instead of out on the trail. Anyway, it's just my 2 cents. I'll stop rambling on. I really started this more for talking about how to go hiking on the cheap. But take it for what it's worth. If you've got any comments or questions, at the end, please, put it in the comment box, and I'll try to answer it as quickly as possible. But again, the most important thing I think for us is, for everybody, is if you're contemplating hiking, is to do it, to gather those skills and to get out there and hike, because, you're only getting older, So, anyway, like I said, any questions or comments, post it. Thanks.